I mean, 17. He's having new vision data. He had comments.
They are an advisory board.
Yeah, they are, and I don't have a real issue with it.
Great.
Yes.
I'm fine.
No, I mean, yeah, you do, no, but I mean, that's why I said last week, projects for me, so I have to go down to see. I said, go.
It's because it's trying to get How's John?
Just showing my age.
So, we just seen out the weekend good, man. I got some bears, we got channels, and some nice eats.
Yeah. Just got out.
Two more bag and head, and one body. Yeah, right? Oh, that was hack.
Wasn't that up on Beamer?
No, right on top of the lake up there.
I heard about that.
Jimmy.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in. It's almost ready stuff.
By then,
I didn't know it was how it happened.
Mr. Dean, sir?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm well.
We're almost ready. So, you go, I'll go to the signs.
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
Well, I was right.
Okay, slow. Slow. You got the heat set? This is the heat.
No.
Rising sun, the house rising
It's an okay song, it's just the way I don't know. It's just been covered too many times.
200,000 times. They're like, okay.
Just ruined it. Wasn't terrible. It was an okay song. Ruined it, so.
Hello, Randall.
Want to read it?
Oh, jeez. The way you said that, I was like, no, tell me. Are you okay? Actually, it's fine.
The safety of the existing conditions. That's just the most.
Everyone's got different places. But arrive at 5 minutes late. So change the course. No one's ever done. They all came through late. It's just, you know, Everyone's gonna take that summer with the UN.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we stand and say the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Teresa, can we start out with a little roll call, please?
Teresa Santiago?
And Bob Nicoretti, and to my right, we have our planning board secretary tonight, Mr. Flo Santini, Mr. Glenn Plotsky, and John, our engineer. Okay, Mr. Dean, our town liaison. All right, first order of business tonight, number one on the agenda is the Humane Society Site Plan Review Public Hearing. Flo, do you have,
Yes,
public notice?
Mr. Platt.
I'm gonna read
Oh,
it
okay.
because of her.
Okay.
Notice of public hearing, Town of Deer Park Planning Board. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the Town of Deer Park Planning Board, Orange County, New York, pursuant to Article 7 of the Town of Deer Park zoning law on the application for a site plan review. The application affects the following premises. Record owners, Humane Society of Port Jervis. Applicant, Humane Society of Port Jervis. Tax map designation, section 53, block 1, lot 4. Zone designation, hamlet mixed use or HMU. Description of application, new 5,000 square foot building for kennels, located at 202 US Route 209, Port Jervis, New York, 12771. Information on this application can be viewed at the town clerk's office, Town of Deer Park, 420 Route 209, Huguenot, New York. The hearing shall take place at 7:00 p.m. on the 10th day of November 2021 at Town Hall, located at 420 Route 209, Town of Deer Park, Orange County, New York, or as soon thereafter as practicable. All parties wishing to be heard shall be heard at that time by order of the Deer Park Planning Board.
Thank you, sir. I also believe you in receipt of the, anybody sign up for a public hearing?
Not Humane Society.
John, what's your plan of project?
Okay. The microphone won't stand up, so
Yeah, mine's the same.
I'm going to speak really loud.
Okay.
All right, good evening to the public. My name is John Fuller. I'm a professional engineer that's representing the Humane Society, which has an application before the board to add a new structure to their lands here in Huguenot. They're at 202 here, Route 209. Historically, the Humane Society, as most people know, have been located there. They were able to acquire a grant to build a new building on the property. It's a 3.5 acre parcel. It's in the HMU district or zoning district of the town. This is a current configuration of the site. What we have proposed to them is adjacent to their existing site. If you're facing it from the road, it would be to the right. We are proposing a 5,000 square foot new structure on the property. That purpose of that structure will be to house all of the dogs that the Humane Society takes in and maintains over time. And then they would look to repurpose the other structures that are on the property. Part of the reason is obviously, you know, there's been a lot of change in codes and regulations, and they've long needed an upgrade in the facilities there. They've accomplished this grant to support the funding for the construction of this building. As part of it, we'll look to expand their parking area, create additional parking spaces to help accommodate their busy times. Obviously, the site is currently supplied by all existing on-site utilities, which are well and septic systems. And although it is a whole new building, it'll increase their operation. It's not necessarily to increase the amount of animals that they take in. It's more about repurposing the other existing buildings on the site and to allow them to operate and function a lot better. We do have some preliminary, what I'll call architectural renderings of what the facility will look like. It's going to be the structure is 40 feet by 140, is the one we proposed when we submitted for the grant. And it'll Most of it will be adorned with a lot of metal siding. It's a little bit different from what the current structures look like, but it was able to meet the budget necessary within the grant that they accomplished. So with that introduction, I'll turn it back to the chairman for questions about the project.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Before you move forward, I would indicate to the board that the certified mailings have been satisfactorily sent out and compared. Also, as part of the record and part of the file, the board has received from, or through Mr. Fuller, comments from the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, OPRHP. They've indicated that there are no properties, including archaeological and or historic resources listed in or eligible for the New York State National Registers of Historic Places that would be impacted by this application. Also, the board has in its possession a referral or report from Orange County Department of Planning. And that document indicates that this is a local determination with no particular recommendations.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you wanna go over, John, I know you submitted a new map that addressed some of the comments. You wanna go over that now, or?
From Mr. Fusco, yeah, I'm happy to, his most recent.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, his most recent letter, he's identifying that the area disturbance is well less than what requires what we call a SWIP, or stormwater pollution prevention plan. However, we're providing measures to mitigate any stormwater. Certainly no stormwater will impact currently the state right-of-way nor any adjoining properties because of the way the property is graded and slopes towards the rear to the river. The project has been sent out for DOT review. We have not heard anything from the DOT, but I've noted in the application that there's no proposed change to their existing entrances to the property, so we don't expect, any real comments from them. We have provided landscaping. Mr. Fusco has requested that we do a dye test on the existing septic systems that operate at the facility, which is fine, and I'll coordinate that with his office. And then, and obviously, we have a public hearing, and then the 239 referrals have been sent.
Are there any comments from the board? Anything, Glenn? No. Okay, well, at this time, we can open the meeting up to the public hearing portion. Is anybody here to speak on behalf of or against the application of the Humane Society? Okay. We're going to leave written open 2 weeks, Glenn, or we're going to close it?
That's up to you. There's no requirement that you keep it open.
All right, well then, let's make a motion to close the public hearing portion of the application for the Humane Society.
I'll make that.
Second.
Craig seconds, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. All right, John. Anything else we can?
No, I think, I assume the pleasure of the board is to finalize any comments from Mr. Fusco's office.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Are we still waiting for something to come back from,
Well, the
from
DOT,
DOT possibly, right? It's only been
it's been 30 days. I mean, normally if
We haven't
they have
received
issues,
anything.
but, I'm fine with, I'll address his last remaining comments and come back for approval.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be good for us.
All right, very good.
All right, thanks,
All
man.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 2 on the agenda is the New Century Site Plan Review public hearing. Do you have notice on that, Glenn?
Yeah, I just need a second to finish my
yep,
notes,
yep,
sorry.
yep, that's fine. Take your time.
Notice of public hearing, Town of Deer Park Planning Board. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the Town of Deer Park Planning Board, Orange County, New York, pursuant to Article 7 of the Town of Deer Park zoning law on the application for site plan review. The application affects the following premises. Record owners, Zinshiji Corporation. Applicant, I'm sorry about the pronunciation. Applicant, New Century Film. Tax map designation, Section 50, Block 1, Lot 38.23. Zone designation, Hamlet Mixed Use, HMU. Description of application, hotel, retail shops, and restaurant. Located at 517 Neversink Drive, Port Jervis, New York, 12771. Information on this application can be viewed at the Town Clerk's Office, Town of Deer Park, 420 Route 209, Huguenot, New York. The hearing shall take place at 7 p.m. on the 10th day of November 2021 at Town Hall, located at 420 Route 209, Town of Deer Park, Orange County, New York, or as soon thereafter as practicable. All parties wishing to be heard shall be heard at that time by order of the Deer Park Planning Board.
All mailing receipts are in order, Glenn?
They are, sir.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. We go. John,
So,
explain this one, please.
I will. All right. Again, for the public, for the record, my name is John Fuller. I'm a professional engineer that has represented this applicant before the board. There's a proposed amended site plan and uses associated with the property that is before you. Historically, the property, as most people in the town has known, it was originally built as an equestrian facility. New Century has owned the property for several years now. I forget the exact date of the purchase. I'm sure that they can represent that tonight. I've represented them twice before the board before this application. Previously, when they first acquired the property, we came before the board for their operation, which is a film production, which is a permitted use within the HMU zone which this lies. So initially, we accomplished that approval so that they could operate and be on the property. We followed that up about a year and a half later to seek an approval for flea market or market facilities at the property, which the board granted that approval at a previous time. That is a use that runs with the site plan, but they have not used that use in the recent past, mainly because of COVID reasons that developed over the last year and a half. The proposal before the board now in public is to make some amendments to the site plan for defined purposes going forward. Specifically, we're not proposing any new structures on the property. The current footprints are all existing, but they want to add some component uses to the property and specifically alter the first barn as you come into the property, which we have labeled as B1. There's definition of the purposes of each building within the site documents, but I'll talk about a few of them here this evening. As most people know, historically there are two houses there that were built originally for the equestrian facility. There is the first barn, which we're going to call B1, and I'll speak to that in a moment. There's the largest building in the center of the property, which is the indoor arena historically for the property, and then there's another barn, which is sort of an H-shaped format, which was built off to the side. All those structures are existing, and we're all part of the original development. What we're proposing with this latest amendment to the site is that the two existing dwellings, the ownership would request to put kitchens in them, which I can allow Mr. Way to speak to in a moment, in order to operate commercial entities out of that. B1, which is the first barn into the property, is one in which we're proposing to have the most significant alteration, which is to convert the barn into a multi-purpose use. First on the first floor, where there will be a hotel or motel, I'll call it, on the first floor, and then on the second floor there will be a small restaurant and dining facility. The multi-purpose building will continue to run as it is. There will be, right now there's no proposed alteration to that, and currently the furthest barn has historically had offices in that. They'll continue to maintain the offices that are in that building. This project obviously will go through, and it has gone through an extensive review. We have done a traffic study. All the other environmentals that are associated with such a project we've run through, which is endangered species, wetlands, floodplain, all that has been done. And obviously that's out to review. This, because it is on a state road, it'll necessitate DOT review. Although we don't use any driveways off of 209, there is an existing emergency entrance which is used for emergency purposes only. That there is that entrance. There are two historical entrances off the county road, Neversink Drive. We are not proposing to change them. At one time, earlier in our submissions, we were proposing to modify one of the entrances, but we've taken that back, and we're going to maintain the two existing entrances that exist on Neversink Drive. We represented the project, I believe, very thoroughly as far as all adequate requirements. There's still some technical issues that we have to work through. Ultimately, the project will require Department of Health approval because of the nature of with its water septic requirements. So that will run with the project. But with that, I'll answer any questions. Obviously, I'm sure the public will have some questions about it. Peter, do you want to add anything at this point? Okay. Okay, all right. So he's available to answer some questions about their operation, but I'll turn it back to.
Well, why don't we just real quickly go over Fusco Engineering's questions for tonight, or these are the old ones?
Well, they're from October 5th.
Oh, these are, okay,
Yeah,
those were responses
Yeah,
to
we
your
have
questions.
not,
Okay.
yeah, so we're working through those comments. We have not
Okay.
submitted any updated documents. I mean, I can just speak to them in general.
Well, that was your November 11th,
Yeah.
November
Yeah,
1st letter?
yeah. Documents have
Yeah.
been sent to the county and DOT. I have not gotten responses on that. We have engaged the health department, so we'll have to go through an extensive review of that, including joint soil testing and things of that nature, which will ultimately lead to a modification of their speedies permit, which, is understood. I mean, I think those are the big issues that are outstanding, so we identified that we're not proposing any physical changes because we took out the proposed entrance we had previously, that site disturbances are minor and will not necessitate a
And
swing.
that entrance was the one on Neversink Drive.
That was the one on Neversink Drive, yeah, that's been removed. So the project won't require a SWIP because we aren't proposing any extensive, yeah, exactly, so,
So John, did you say that you did submit the traffic study to
yes.
OC DPW?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, just to be consistent, in the town's file, there is a mandatory review report from the Orange County Department of Planning. And their number one comment was that the traffic study needs to be submitted to Orange County DPW and the New York State DOT to determine whether the existing flea market traffic and traffic resulting from the proposed 22-room motel and proposed 50-seat restaurant would cause an issue on either US Route 209 or County Route 80. And until such time, the planning department indicated that they could not consider the submission as complete. I would indicate that there's reference to concerns relative to possible endangered or threatened species, specifically the dwarf wedge mussel, timber rattlesnake, bald eagle, and brook floater. With regard to each of those, they simply indicate that the applicant should be aware and avoid accidental takings of these species. Further, because it's in a floodplain, it's within a 100-year floodplain, there needs to be maintained a 50-foot buffer area between the floodway and the nearest developed area, so that should be kept entirely free from development. As indicated, the referral needed to be made to DPW and DOT. Apparently that has been done, but not yet responded to.
Yeah, we'll make note of that, but that's, John, you're aware of that, so.
Yes.
All right, well, at this time, we can open this application up to the public hearing process.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have the sign-in sheet relative to this public hearing. I don't know if people sign in because they were here to hear about it or if they wanted to testify, but I'll read their names one at a time. Lauren McCune. Do you wish to speak, sir?
All right, thank you.
Well, then you need to go to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and then proceed.
All right. My name is Lauren McCune. I live at 58 Airport Road, which happens to be right across 209 from the New Century property. So every day when I go out, I see the beautiful New Century property. I'm interested in the development of Deer Park, and I'm a chairman of Unison Construction Company, which has built several new homes in the area. And I feel that real estate values have held up, and that's good, but I've been a little disappointed that there hasn't been too much commercial development. In fact, if anything, we've gone backwards. I enjoy going to the Huguenot Deli, and for whatever reason, they've recently closed. So to me, it's exciting that we might actually get a new place to eat in the area. And I wish New Century well and have great success with the project.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Alex Silla?
Yeah, right here.
All right, gentlemen, ladies, Alex Silla here representing my nonprofit as the director of NY EnvironCom. We work on land use issues locally. We're at 35 3rd Street. That's where our office will be going up in the area. So with this project, our concern is just, all right, so we're reviewing a site plan. So we have a film company that is running a farm that's gonna put in commercial kitchens in a restaurant. And we have to evaluate this site plan based on the experience, the management, what's gonna go in there, how they're gonna deal. It's so many things, and what they've submitted, you know, it's going on for years. Some of the documents are from 2017. How do those reconcile? How do we make a judgment on whether this kitchen there, how they're gonna manage the water, how they're gonna manage, it's just so early, and it's changed so many times. And it crosses so many industries that it's a film company, you think they'd be doing film, but now we have a hotel and a restaurant, you know, so I hope the planning board, you know, has a plan for, you know, evaluating their plan for going to the site, seeing what's happened, because it's an equestrian center originally. You know, we've gone from horses to farming to film to hotel, so we need to evaluate the criteria needs to be adjusted to reflect all those. You know, there has to be a way, the reports, you know, the analysis, you know, from the consultants, the engineers, they have to analyze it based on what it is, what it was, what is proposed, and what it's gonna end up being. And is it gonna change again, you know, in the final thing? You know, is this the final plan? And if it is, let's evaluate it on the final plan, not all these things that happened before. So I hope the process allows for that. Hope the planning board will, you know, come up with you know, a structure to address those, and that's how it'll be done moving forward. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Grace Woodard?
Yes. Grace Woodard, Deer Park Rural Alliance and New York EnvironCom. I basically have a lot of questions. One thing is, just as a procedural issue, the site plan was not on the website until about a day ago to look at with the other documents. We don't really have a master plan, and as going back a year or so ago, or in one of the iterations, I think that was a big concern of our attorney for the town, Mr. Plotsky, that this could well be another poster child of segmentation. So there, and as Alex has mentioned, it's been through many variations, and some of my questions kind of go to the heart of the plan. First of all, there's going to be a 22-room hotel. There had been discussion a long time ago about, is this a dormitory? Are these short-term, long-term? Is it a hotel? Is it a motel? Is it for workers for various satellite projects? That is an ongoing question. There's also the issue of, can anybody rent a room there? Go have, in a 50-room, is it a 50-seat restaurant on the second floor? Is there a guardhouse as you come in? There used to be a check-in system, or is this open? Can anybody just go in and get a room there? So is this for the public, or are there other purposes? In looking at the site plan, it refers to it as a shopping mall at one point. Then there's catering, and I understand originally it was going to be catering in one house. Maybe I misunderstood, but it's now two of the houses, the residences, are going to be catering businesses. Do the catering businesses supply the food to the restaurant, or does the restaurant have its own kitchen? There's also mention of 7,900, I guess, gallons per day. And you have a motel. And you have a 50-seat restaurant. You have 2 catering halls. And do you have people living there, in addition to the 22-room motel? And what kind of laundry facilities are there for the hotel, the cleaning facilities? I think there's a real question as to whether this water usage is an accurate picture. That's one of my questions. There are, on the site plan, it also says that these are offices. This is barn B, and I know the other barn has offices. Now, my question is, I don't know if anybody on the board has been to the site. I hope they have seen the site or been in the buildings, because I'm assuming that there have been no structural changes, interior changes to these buildings prior to this. But if you're saying the old stable, the first building, Building B, was a stable, I've been there many times, into the stables and to the arena. Have these already been altered? Now, were they altered under the agreement that you have a film studio? I don't know. Clearly, the New Century Film is a very reduced vision of what it was originally. They're blown out of the water by the expansion of film studios all over the Hudson Valley. The biggest one is at the old IBM Center, 8 sound stages, huge backlot area, multi-million-dollar project. So what we have here is, at one point, I'm assuming small films being done. You don't have a production, post-production setup. You don't have a real sound stage. What is happening seems to be that you have a train, but you're trying to make it into an airplane. I don't think the fit is good for all of these projects, because I see it as a mashup. And we also don't know what's going to, there's a few other places on the property. There's a subterranean, this is on the site plan, pistol and shooting range. What does that play in the plans for the film studio, or in the master plan? We do not have a master plan here. And so I think this is a poster child for segmentation, as Dragon Springs had been, had been acknowledged. I just think that you have to really, the last thing that I want to make, the Nature Conservancy has an easement, a buffer zone. It is wider than the 50 feet. I believe it is 200 feet. I may be wrong there. Maybe it is only 150 feet along the Neversink River. And right now, the vegetable gardens go pretty close to that. They're on a downward slope. And the threat of the Neversink River isn't so much dwarf wedge mussel, but is sedimentation. Sedimentation kills fish, kills trout, kills macrophytes, kills a lot of stuff if you have runoff from an organic farm. Organic farms don't mean there isn't organic fertilizer. So that buffer zone is a big deal, I think, and also the water usage, and also at one point when they were doing a film studio, I've been in that business, so I do know that you have lots and lots of people. If you build out your film studio, the traffic and the water usage goes up exponentially for a big shoot. Now, I've seen a lot of cars around there this summer. I haven't been on, I haven't inquired. I know there's been a trailer. I don't know if anybody's living in it. I don't know if anybody's living in any of the buildings. But I just think that everybody needs to be very clear as to what will happen, and that there be full transparency. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jinping?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I have to clarify that, I didn't know put my name on the paper is the people to be spoken out today. So, but since I didn't prepare that much, but I would like to share my experience working for New Century in the last 3 years, because I believe because I moved in different cities in the United States, and finally I settled down here because my family here. I love this place. I love the people here. That's why in the last 3 years, so I have been putting a lot of efforts into sharing the values, including the food, organic farms, the festivals, the traditions with the local people. So I was very involved in organizing the events, involving with the local businesses, and inviting them to display their handcrafts to the local people in Moon Festival, Family Festival. Also invite work with the flower and the flower ladies clubs for the flower shows and meet people, and they can dress up and freely play on the yard. So because this is life is about sharing. So especially in the season of the the holiday season. So I want to express my deep gratitude to the local people, and also really appreciate this country that we can freely express ourselves and share the good values with everybody. And because I'm sure that all the technical part will be well presented by Mr. John Fuller, this great engineer. But right now I just want to tell what we have been working on, involving with the local people, and really wanted to be part of everybody here, what you saw or when you went to see the festivals. And also especially the food, because we have been inviting several local the fairs and the festivals because they really love the food. And we also share some with Grace and Alex in the Fall Foliage Festival, and they also like them too. So nobody refused the great food. This is definitely one of the great part. So we want to continue sharing and keep sharing with everybody. And you're gonna taste like a great Asian food, very authentic, that you cannot taste anywhere else within 30 miles. Yeah, that's my, just some sharing with everybody. Yes, thank you.
God bless America, that's what I say.
Deborah Lash.
I have my notes on my phone, sorry. I'm Deborah Lash, I live on 30 Cora Rose Lane here in Huguenot, just down the street. First off, I'd like to say I'm not against anybody bringing more commerce into this community. I think it's wonderful to have commercial properties. It's going to help us all in the end. One of the questions I had was, is the traffic been studied? I see that's being addressed already. Another question is, what's the plan for fire coverage? Putting a hotel in, hotel versus motel, whatever, it's going to be a bigger presence. Has this been addressed? And my bigger concern is, what's the plan for wastewater treatment and sewage disposal? It's going to be a lot more people on that property. Most of us here in this town have our own septic systems. It's right up against the river. So, my concern is just let's make sure we address that. And that's it. Thanks.
Ben Smith.
Good evening to the board. I'm Ben Smith. I live on Valley View Road in Otisville. I just wanted to, I was kind of like expanding on the young lady who came up before. Just to, the point I want to make is I think Pete and his team have really spent a lot of time and effort trying to contribute to the community, whether it be the Moon Festivals or the flea market. I think they've shown that they have a commitment to sharing their culture and investing in the community and trying to enrich the community. I think that's really valuable. And I've been to many of the festivals myself, and I've seen like a lot of the local people there enjoying the time with their families there. And I think it's just a good point to understand that they're trying to contribute, they're trying to invest, and trying to help enrich the local community. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Steve Gigliotti.
How's it going? So I'm a new neighbor to the area. I got the letter. I wanted to come and just express some thoughts. I grew up from central. Yeah, sorry. I am moving to 108 Airport Road. I grew up in central New York, in a town similar to this. Very involved, and I plan to be involved here. And I thought this was a great opportunity to meet fellow neighbors. And when I got this letter, I thought I had to come and say a couple words. Before my wife and I were looking for a place in a town to move to, we had looked all over. For 3 or 4 years, we had come to some of the summertime events at the new Century, and we had a great time. And I have to say, that brought us to the area to look around places, and maybe one of the reasons that we decided to build here and move here and raise our family here. I think it's a great project. I think when a project like this comes in, it gives the town opportunities to develop things for people to do in the town. So for me, getting that letter and seeing what was going to happen there, as someone who's building, I think it's a great thing, and something that both my wife and I are very happy for. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rose, you?
I don't have anything to share. I just signed up. Sorry, I didn't know I need to talk.
No, you don't have to
Oh,
talk.
I don't
You
have
sign
any.
in.
Yeah, I'm just here to hear.
Okay,
Listen,
okay.
yeah.
Well, we didn't have to talk.
That's apparently. Mr. Chairman, that's the last person to sign.
Okay, is anybody else out there in the public that want to comment on the project? Peter, you want to? John?
If I may. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody.
Just state your name for the record, Peter.
Yeah, my name is Peter. We am working for New Century. I don't know how many minutes can I speak. I can speak about the whole night because basically what Alex and Grace mentioned, all the points, over 24 points, I think all valid points. I can address every point because I'm from learning, physics, media, but filmmaking is, to me, is the most complicated industry. It's not just doing a movie look from the screen. It's behind so many work. That's why we are here. A lot of people will be involved. Work will be given. And for Alex mentioned why for movie business you do have a restaurant or food, because we talk with so many directors and producers in the local. We went to just mention that facility, IBM facility. We talked with Mary Masterson, and she said basically they all said, the director said, the movie making is a very long time, overtime working like 12, 14 hours. So if you make the crew their stomach happy, 80% of the time everybody will be happy. So when they heard what we are going to do here, they are very excited. Summer, the manager of the Newburgh Data 2 sound stages, they said they look forward to that. We have a lot of friends from Canada, from the States. So the food, just like Jim mentioned, who don't love great food? And when you're talking about great food, it has to be from the beginning, from our heart and from the land. Organic is the best, natural. So far, the fertilizer, even the pest, sometimes we have to deal with the pest, all organic. We just try to drive them away, don't kill them. So everything we do, I have prepared about 150 pages of a presentation, but I think I can reduce to 1/3. Still I have about 50 pages for the board, for the public, and whoever wanted. I have 2 copies. That's basically what we said at the very beginning 4 years ago, and what we delivered. And what you people probably more or less know us. And also on 2019, there's a gentleman, James. He was the project manager at the moment, but now he's deputy director who awarded us the fund for developing this place on behalf of ESD, Empire State Development. He gave a public hearing. I also have the comment from the people, he, on our behalf, to present. And 2 years later, he featured our project on the 2019 Regional Economic Report that basically I would proudly say with our team and working with the community, whatever we said, so far we delivered. There's much to improve and much to be expected, but I think one thing is clear, so we just try our best, even talking about the master plan, the water, everything. We bring to the board, I think the very first few meetings, we have ambition, but we have also the reality limitation. So we just try our best to one step at a time. We're not trying to, we just try to finish everything overnight, but sometimes money, situation, even the COVID, everything can be a factor. But we talk with Mr. Dean and the board. We want to be Mr. Dean said brutally honest. I think we are. We honest. Whatever we said, we be responsible. We'll try our best to basically. We want to share whatever we have with everybody with gratitude and happiness. Thank you.
Just one thing. Did you say you had 50 pages of written material?
Yes, I do.
Hang on. Do you want to enter that as part of the public record?
Yeah, yes. This can be. And I have more if you.
Well, you don't have to read it. You just do it. Yeah, you don't have to read it.
don't read. Don't be, yeah, this is a, I can, this for the, can we have the board?
Well, give it to her, blank for a second. It'll be recorded in as part of the
Any
public.
public want this?
Greece, Alex?
You don't be accepted?
Okay, yeah.
So there's a packet of documents that were just submitted by Peter. They'll be made part of the file. They'll be made available to the public if you come to the clerk's or planning board office. And I will recommend to the board that they be scanned and put onto the website as well. Thank you.
All right, Peter, good?
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Come on up, state your name.
Hi, hello everyone. Actually, a few years ago,
Can we have your name first?
my name is Shirley, yes.
Sure.
Shirley.
Sure.
Yeah. Actually, a few years ago, we have been here, and at that time, this house farm actually is already abandoned more than 10 years. Actually, a lot of us already put our effort because we love this place. We very appreciate when the persecution happened. Actually, a lot of people with the Falun Gong practitioners here. All the people as knows, we try to really want to appreciate what we are living in this little town, and all the peaceful, all the love, all the value is the same. So we are learning and we are living. And for the master plan, actually, because this building has a lot of potential, we would like to try to provide the master plan. But as you know, we really have the ability limited right now. So we didn't provide the master plan yet. But all of us, we will try our best to build up this town and bring the great movie and food and all the organic farm, the vegetables. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm sorry, Glenn. Is there someone else on the list, right? Is there someone else? That was it?
The list is complete.
Okay. All right, we don't have to hold it open for written comment either. We just have to-
Technically, you don't have to, but you've received written comment by the applicant, so it might be appropriate so that somebody can see it and then comment on it.
All right, well, we can't.
Because the alternative would be to have Peter read it, which would force me to have to kill everybody.
All right. So if we just kept it open for 2 weeks, we're not having a meeting the 24th, so.
I would hold it open until the December meeting. Do it a month. That way it's until the next meeting, people can have an
Okay, well,
opportunity to
that works for
review
me.
it and get a comment.
Right, yeah, done. Okay, so we just need a motion to keep the written portion of the public hearing open until December the 8th, I believe.
December 8th, correct.
December the 8th, there a motion for that?
For written comment only.
Written comment only.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Greg second. All in favor?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, so. Public comment open for 3 days.
Okay. Very good.
Is there, do you want to address anybody's concerns? You don't have to, but.
I don't know does the board have any specific, I'm happy to respond or comment now on anything that you've heard tonight.
You can hold off. We're not,
Yeah, I think I've taken notes. I'm happy to, respond and do what we need to do.
Well, I'm going to give you time to put that together.
All right, very good. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John. All right, we did make a motion to close the oral portion of the public hearing. Need that motion?
Make that motion.
All in favor?
Yes.
Good to go. Further on our agenda, we have the Pine Grove Mobile Home Park, Route 209 subdivision. Somebody here represents Pine Grove?
Yes.
What about 30 Van Ave?
Where is that?
Number 3.
Oh, number 3 is, we'll lose to number 2. How about Van Ave? We'll do that. Sorry. Somebody here for Van Ave? 30 Van Ave?
No, I think most of the people who are here for the public hearing, so they're gonna next, might be a good time to take a break.
Well, I knew Van Ed wasn't here, that's why. Well, now let's move on to number 4, Pine Grove Mobile Home Park. Huh? Someone looked at that thought or no?
Mr. Koppel was here, I saw him.
Maybe didn't like crowds.
Well, as they leave, some people might come back. Why don't you stay on that?
Shot.
You know, it's like.
You know, since
Yes, I
I feel very appreciative.
appreciate it.
You mean Pennsylvania?
I feel like I'm playing a role the scene isn't even inside the somebody right, well, they just said.
Ah, you're back.
We're back. I'm sorry, we were talking. We were talking. We didn't run.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Don, good? Okay. Sir, please.
Yes, yes, Randy Koffel, I'm here on behalf of the applicant for the Pine Grove subdivision. We've submitted revised plans, have the soils on them as requested, and the other things. I don't know if there's anything else on the checklist that we need to discuss.
I talked to Amanda yesterday. I didn't get any revised plans. So she said, I wanted to make sure that she didn't get them and got them and didn't send them to me. She said she did not get anything revised either, so I haven't seen them.
Are the revisions laid on this?
I hand-delivered them up to...
Revised October 22nd?
Yes.
We have those. You don't have those?
I specifically talked to Amanda and asked her if we had received anything, and she said we did not. The only thing we received was the revised plans on the Humane Society. So, and I wanted to make sure I talked to her so that we didn't.
Well, obviously we have a little snafu in communication here. It's not, we didn't get a review done on the plan just did submit. What is this, what are the comments from October 11th? Some of the old comments?
There's a request for some, a soil perk test to be done on the property, which the applicant's representative indicated was done. Some notation, it did require GML because of frontage on 209, so did you send it to the county? Is that done?
We sent out the GML 239.
I guess.
Was it sent?
On 10/13, that we.
So, I mean, if they're requesting a public hearing be set, which I assume is required, I don't have a problem with moving forward with that, and we can respond to those, check those comments off, but our office did not receive that revised plan.
And will we ship one out tomorrow?
Yeah, I can give you the ones I have here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, if you want to give me a copy, I'll take it with you.
One other question as to how you want us to deal with. In looking at these things, we noticed that there was a very minor drafting error on the southwest corner. There's a reference which says 0.25 east of the line, and it's just a drafter error, it should be 0.25 west of line.
You got it backwards,
So,
but yeah, it should be
so
west.
do you want us to submit 14 new plans, or can we just make a notation of that and change it as, okay?
Yeah.
That's,
You'll probably need to submit for the public hearing revised plans, so just incorporate that change when you submit your public hearing plans.
okay.
Okay?
Should have been 1.5 west instead of 2.5 east. right?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, so it was, yeah.
Correct.
0.2, it says 0.25 east, but in the south corner, it should be 0.25 west. It was always a drafter's error.
No, it says it's west, it should be east.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Ken.
The corner falls almost on the face of the curve, I couldn't get anything
Okay.
in there. So I
Okay.
put a cut,
Okay.
2,500 in.
So we'll make it changes for the final submission.
So you want to set the public hearing then? You want a date?
Yes, please.
We can do it on the 8th, correct? Why not? We need a motion to set a public hearing for the project on the 8th of December for Pine Grove subdivision.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, you're on for the 8th. Anything else we do for you tonight? or-
Just in terms of sending out do we send out or do you, the notices? Or the list will be promulgated?
We'll get you the list, we'll get you the notice, you send it
Yeah.
out certified.
Excellent.
We don't need the return receipt card, we need the certified
green-
mailing
yeah.
receipt.
Right, the mailing receipts. Excellent.
One other point of business is this Orange County Department of Planning. This did come back. What's the date on this? This is October the 15th.
I did not receive a copy of it. What is?
Yeah, it says that there's no determination, that they have no problem. with
Okay.
it.
Oh, good. There you
Do you have that one, Glenn?
I didn't see it.
Okay, I just want to, Amanda sent it to me, I downloaded that.
It's not part of the file.
Just take a look, make sure we can see.
When did you actually drop the plans off to the town, do you know?
Long time ago. 12, right? A couple days after the meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Did
it's
it
not,
right away.
okay, so it's been at town hall for a while. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And it is local determination, so the county Department of Planning has nothing. DOT probably won't, because you're not proposing any new entrances.
Correct.
But we have to send it to them. The 239 was authorized back in October, so I would venture to guess, based on the notations in the file, that it has been distributed. But until Amanda comes in, I can't say for sure.
Just let the record reflect that we did receive the comments from the county.
So if we receive those, the likelihood is it was done.
Right, because they
have
could
received those
have
comments.
commented without it being mailed out, pretty
Exactly.
much, yes. Absolutely. Good. Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
At 7 p.m.?
On the 8th?
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So John, I'll give you a copy, and when I go out, I'll come right back. That's fine.
All right, and then, just for public knowledge, we're not gonna have a planning board meeting on November the 24th, 2001, and we're not gonna have a planning board meeting on December the 22nd, 2001. It's the Thanksgiving holiday and the Christmas holiday. So. Anything else from the board?
You didn't do the minutes.
No, we're gonna have a discussion for the minutes. Discussion tonight, I had talked to the board earlier, and then Mr. Houston and then Mr. Fuller. I'm going to discuss the SHPO standing in regards to Mr. Houston's subdivision. I do have notes from a month ago. The town attorney, Mr. Plosky, was going to look into to make sure that the determination was mandatory and not just a suggestion. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Plosky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. So it does appear that SHPO recommendations are just that. They are recommendations, they're not mandatory. That having been said, we almost always do require, I mean, if they say that we need a study done, this board has almost universally required it. Under these particular circumstances, the board could determine that it's advisory in nature and not mandatory, therefore not require the study to be done. This is particularly true where it is a small subdivision, it's 2 lots, and it's in an area where for as long as most of the people in this room, the exception possibly being Mr. Dean, sorry. And, you know, as long as anybody in the room has been alive, basically, the property has been used either residentially or agriculturally. It has not been an Indian burial ground or anything like that for some hundreds of years. So it becomes ultimately a board determination as to whether you require the evaluation with the time and expense that would involve, or whether you waive that and allow the matter to proceed without it.
Well, there again, the interpretation is the ground disturbance. And, you know, if somebody came in with a 30-lot subdivision that was in a archaeological sensitive area, you know, that's a different story. If it was wooded property, it was never turned, never a farm, never tilled, never dug, a horse arena was never on it, that's actually my determination, that's a different animal than something like Mr. Houston's property that's been rolled on, turned on, fence posts dug and plowed and buildings put up, torn down. It's not a virgin piece of property. It's property that's been well used over maybe 100 years, I'm not sure, but it sure as hell ain't virgin anymore. But with that in mind, directed to Mr. Houston, this is just a discussion tonight. There's no action proposed. Just a discussion just for the board to get a feel of, you know, where we went a month ago and where we're at today. I would suggest that maybe you make an application for the December 8th planning board, and at that time we could revisit our what we voted on and see if that possibly changed with this new material, you know, actually come to light and see how you make out. But I would definitely put an application to be on the agenda for the 8th of December.
Okay. Thank you.
John, it's just discussion.
Well, I mean, he already has an application. We'll just submit to reappear before the board in
Correct.
December and then discuss the matter as you presented it then.
That's good. I appreciate it. Any of us have anything to throw in there?
Yeah, I just have one concern. I understand the situation, I think it's appropriate, but rather than just do it, I would like to come up for the future, whether it's a 2-lot subdivision, 3-lot subdivision, some guidelines internally that we have, so we're not throwing, every time it comes up, it's a new issue. The next guy comes, it's 3 lots, the next guy comes, it's 4 lots. I think if we're doing this, we should at least have an internal policy that we're going to be consistent with.
Well, that's something we gotta kind of work on and develop, but then
Oh,
again,
yes.
you know, in my own research, and, you know, if it was I don't even use the word virgin property again, but if it was property that was undisturbed, forested, or even if it was a meadow, if it was never used agriculturally or for any kind of domestic use, you know, then it would kind of trigger the SHPO certification of the dig, I would imagine. This versus just a single lot or a simple 2-lot subdivision with Mr. Houston's. I don't really think, you know, that is, well, my own determination. I don't think it really warrants a SHPO dig.
The board, frankly, the board as its policy may want to say, well, if it's what one might call a major subdivision, so 4 or 5 lots or more, then it requires it, and if it's less than that, it doesn't require it. Also, though, subject to the type of land it's on. If it's wooded versus if it's used, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's still not a black and white decision. We still have the option no matter whether it's 4 lot, 1 lot, to require it.
It's up to our discretion.
It's up to our,
But it gives you a guide.
we need some guidelines.
Sure.
So the applicants have some idea too.
No, I agree.
No, you're right. I mean, maybe you leave it just that you look at everyone and.
Right, I think each one is.
That makes me nervous without any guidelines.
Yeah, the last.
Everything's up to. Anything else to discuss for that matter? All right, so we do that, go with that.
All right, thank you.
All right, a discussion on anything else for the cause, anything else?
I don't have anything.
You asking me?
I
If you're asking me, I'll give you some. If you look at the map under SHPO, all of New York State is an Indian territory, including Long Island.
All right, so we'll do the whole state.
And that's the difference between this board is a local board. You have the discretion. You don't need, I don't care if it's a 30 lot subdivision, I don't know 100 lot subdivision. That's your discretion to decide whether they think they know better than you do for your local town. Doesn't matter how big the subdivision is. This is our community. We will decide whether it needs it or not because it's advisory. So you're the advisor, take it under revision and make a decision. That's not that hard, really. I don't need a bunch of guidelines from the state to tell me what to do. That's my personal, because all of New York State is Indian territory. So you want a guideline? Dig it all up. That's what they're saying. It's all Indian territory. What? That's their own admission. You look at the map. It's all.
Oh, that's theirs, not yours.
No, that's their map. It's all Indian territory, including Long Island, on their map.
You didn't say dig it up.
Huh?
So make sure you didn't say dig it up.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, listen, and we'll take that under advice.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Dean, how are you? Good? Everything's good at town level?
What a great evening.
Yeah, you guys all were all back in there again? Thank God.
All's good.
Thank God. That's all I got to say. All right, well, get all that out of the way. We need to keep the minutes of the meeting.